Hello everyone, I'm Richard Gon of Work to Live podcast version. So this time, I'd like to talk about suitable education materials for learning foreign languages. And maybe most of you are native speakers of English language, but so in the case of the native speakers of English language, maybe they don't study. I don't think most of the native speakers of English language do not study foreign languages. I'm sorry, I stumbled. So I think most of you do not study foreign languages. But first of all, but I'd like you, or I recommend you studying foreign languages because by learning foreign languages you can create another set of thought circuit only by learning another language. For example, so it's really difficult to explain what is that thought circuit. For example, you can thinking about interpreting from one language to another. So to interpret or to translate from a composition or from a content written in one language into another, you have to understand all the content of all the content you are going to translate or interpret. By doing which, you can by also if you live on only by using one language, so in some cases people do not understand all the content, or people do not understand the content deep enough to understand all the stuff or all the context of for example of a composition of a video. In language, by learning another language, you can take a look at the same content or the same composition from different perspectives or different aspects, and which is one of the merits of learning foreign languages. And apart from which, what I'd like you to recommend is what I'd like to talk about this time is recommendable education materials for learning a foreign language. And it's up to your mother tongue. But for example, in the case of Chinese language, and if you come to learn Chinese language, you have the suitable education materials. For example, so what should I say? There's a suitable education materials, which is a notebook for children. If there's if you can get the textbook, or if you can get a book for elementary school students or kindergarten kids of Chinese people, for example. And Chinese language has a lot of Chinese characters, and I'm Japanese, so I'm familiar with the use of Chinese characters, which means when I was an elementary school student, I have kept writing Chinese characters. Not only I, but also other students have kept practicing writing Chinese characters from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 in Chinese, expressed in Chinese characters. And you also have to practice writing Chinese characters when it comes to learning Chinese language. And it's really overloading, because there are dozens of, or there are thousands of or millions of Chinese characters in this world. Of course, only some numbers of Chinese characters are enough for spending your life. So there are many difficult Chinese characters, but such difficult Chinese characters aren't used in daily lives. Which is why, if you'd like to, for example, if you happen to have to live in China, for example, so only Chinese characters you have to acquire are not so abundant. which is what I'd like you to know this time. And this is and necessary educational material is up to it, or depends on each country or each mother tongue. So in my case, for example, I don't need to practice a lot of Chinese characters. I started to learn Chinese language when I was a university student, and at that in that phase, how should I say, in when I was when I entered university, I have already known so many Chinese characters because I have learned Chinese characters, or because all the Japanese students have learned so many Chinese characters enough to live on in Japan, which is why our educational system, or the educational system of this country is created like that, which is why people can freely use, or people can use Chinese characters without almost any problems. Some people may have some problems in using Chinese characters, but most people do not have any problems in using Chinese characters. So for Japanese people, what is called writing practices are not necessary. I have done writing practice, right? I have done practicing writing Chinese characters when I was a university student for learning Chinese, for acquiring Chinese. But in the case of most Japanese people, they don't need to practice writing Chinese characters that much, because Japanese people have already known a lot of Chinese characters. But in the case of white people, or in the case of white people or black people or Asian people who are not used, who have never used Chinese characters, or who have never learned Chinese characters, they have to start from practicing writing Chinese characters, which is what I'd like you to know this time. So fundamental phase, or the preliminary phase is different depending on the mother tongues of people, which is what I'd like you to know this time. So in my case, I'm Japanese, which is why when I was learning Russian language, I had to get used to Russian alphabets, or Cyrillic alphabets. How should I say? I don't know how to call Russian alphabet in English anyway. So which is what I'd like you to know this time. So going back to the original topic, so suitable material for learning foreign language is up to your proficiency of the foreign language you are going to learn, or you are learning. So if you are proficient, for example, if you're not native speaker of English language, or if you're native speaker of English language who is learning, for example, French language, and you are proficient in French language, so you do not have to elementary materials for learning French language. So it's fine for you to start to read books written in French language. And reading book is recommendable for learning and for acquiring foreign languages, because I have done reading books. I have done that manner in learning English, and that I don't know whether you think I'm really good at English language, or whether you think I'm really bad at English language. But it's up to your judgment. But at least reading book in foreign languages is really beneficial, or really effective for learning for foreign languages, which is what I'd like you to know this time. So but if you have to learn a foreign language from scratch, you have to use, for example, in the case of Chinese language, you have to start from practicing writing Chinese characters, and if you are a native speaker of English language who is going to start to learn Russian language, you have to get used to Russian alphabet. Or if you, for example, if you are going to start German language, I don't think you need. I think you have already been familiar with Latin alphabet. So what you have to do is to start from start from using elementary textbooks, which is created for university students, for example, not for elementary school students, which is what I'd like you to know this time. It's what you need for learning Chinese, or what you need for learning foreign languages. It's up to your proficiency and up to your mother tongue, which is what depends. It depends on your mother tongue. It depends on your proficiency of the foreign language you are going to study or you are studying, which is what I'd like you to know this time. That's it. Thank you very much for your listening. See you.